Because, of course, they're 4-0, right? Of course, they're 4-0. It's another tidy victory, balance across the lineup, strong goaltending. Kent Wilson,
Just
as we all
that's how they drew it up, right? Everyone knew it.
yeah, I don't know what it's everybody all worked up about.
Are they number one
Yeah.
in the league now, I think?
Yeah, I think there's a few categories where they're at the top of the league. We'll get into it. Welcome to Afterburner, everybody. Boomer along with Kent Wilson, formerly and still of Flames Nation. How do we?
Nope, just formerly.
All right, formerly of Flames Nation, but here with us tonight. Flames take it by a score of 3-1. A pair for Matt Coronado, one with a goalie in, one without a goalie in, and a game winner for Andrei Kuzmenko tonight. I don't know where. Now, they mentioned it at the end of the broadcast. 4-0 are the Flames. Third time in franchise history. 09-10, they did it back 93-94. They also did it. I don't recall cups being lifted in the city in either of those years, but nonetheless.
No.
And then there's maybe some 5-0s in that. But it's we talked about it on the other show today, Ken, about how because you do these shows either after every game or you do them every day, you can be how can't you speak glowingly and positive about the team? And then you feel like you need to preface it. Yeah, we know it's early, but I know it's early, but I don't know what the tipping point is. I don't know for Bet365. Is it game 12? Where can you start to say, okay, it's not so early anymore? There's a lot of consistencies that we've seen in all four of these games. They are working. They're getting some goaltending. They're a good watch right now, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's nice. Sometimes you see with teams like this, which are considered to be not the most talented, you see coaches put together the game plan where it's like, we're going to trap all game. You're going to chip it in, chip it out. You're going to turn it into muck. It's going to be difficult for the other team, but they're not playing that game. They're actually exiting with speed. They're trying stuff off the rush. Defensemen are pinching. So it's not a painful watch at all.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's youth, because there are some older guys who are playing pretty well, all things considered. Jonathan Huberdeau is he's a guy we're going to talk about, I guess, tonight, because he does get involved in this hockey game, gets an assist on the game winner, which after has his stick break at the side of the net and then gets one quickly enough to grab it. But we'll get into it here today as we welcome everybody to Afterburner. You see at the top of the screen there, one of our new partners on board. It's Richmond's Pub in the heart of Glamorgan. You go for your cheese buns. You stop in for their chocolate cake at the bakery. Free plug, I guess. But then, of course, before you're done, you head over to Richmond's Pub. It's your home away from home for Afterburner. We're going to be doing some shows there coming up. Stay tuned. Details and schedule for that. It's great food. It's daily specials. TVs everywhere. It's Richmond's on game day. It's what you need to know. And right now, until the end of the month, it's the NFL VIP experience up for grabs. They are going to be sending somebody and a guest off to San Francisco to watch a little bit of football. It includes your flight. It includes a hotel, a couple tickets, $500 in spending cash. Thursday night football. Be there for obviously watch the football. Have some Barn Burner Blonde. You got some Origin Brewing on tap. We appreciate that. They got the cans going over there. And then as part of the Thursday night celebrations, one person is going to qualify for that trip. End of the month, November 4th, they'll get the qualifiers back. And then one lucky person is going to be off to San Francisco. It's awesome. They do that every month. They got an NHL one coming up. If it's a game day, Coors Light, Coors Original, Coors Seltzer is on special. And yes, we will be there sooner than later. Sports live here. Richmond's Pub, 3919 Richmond Road in the heart of Glamorgan. We mentioned that goal. The redirect by Kuzmenko had 4 assists in the 3 games coming in. And we had talked a lot of here's a 40-goal guy. 40-goal guy. Took a while for him to get a goal here. But he's in it. He's around it. He's impressive to watch. I know Ryan Huska was talking about it. They don't have anybody with this kind of skill level. There's no one else that has what he possesses. And it's some nice hand-eye. But he had made a couple of other nice plays in this hockey game. I feel like we're going to get into the same spot as we so often do with some of these players where, well, you could trade them and get a lot. boy, he's playing pretty good. What if you try and sign him? I don't know. It's early to have that conversation, but he's been a heck of a good Flame since coming over in this trade where seemingly he couldn't play for Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, I think he was a bit of a mixed bag tonight. I've liked him a bit more in some of the other games. He even talked about it in between periods where he said, I haven't had the best game right now because he had a couple giveaways. But you're right. It's if he continues playing at this pace with these kind of points, like what happens at the trade deadline? Do they want to sign him? Or has his stock risen so much that it's like, yeah, you got to get a first rounder for this guy? And I think that might be partially determined by the player himself. Because I don't think the Flames are going to go to Kuzmenko and say, we want you to for 5, 6, 7 years. They might want something for 2 or 3. And I think the player would, if he has a good season, he's going to want to cash in, I think, long term.
Yeah, you would think so, right? He feels like a different dude. And I
Yeah.
say that kind of glowingly. I there's a lot I like about him. He's a unique guy, and we're short on unique people in this world, and his skill is at such a high level. But you're probably right. Even if
Yeah.
you're going to sit down with the people around you, one of those will be your agent, and he or she will say, there's a chance for you to probably make a whole lot of money. You can take a look at the game-winning goal here. This is again, it's an extended power play as Huberdeau has gone off there. You see the remainings of the stick and a little one touch back and forth, and then the shot and a redirect right there for Kuzmenko. He loves scoring. Warner talks about it all the time. Get excited. Scoring's fun.
Yeah, he definitely has fun out there.
Yeah, it's okay to cheer. It's okay to feel good about it. So that ends up being the game winner in this. I was wondering because you look at the games that they had won to this point, they needed 6 goals to win, you need 5 goals to win. They didn't need that tonight. Now Chicago, I don't know. Let's start there. What does your forecast have for the Chicago Blackhawks this year? I don't know exactly where we have them in the power rankings.
Yeah, I don't think they're as bad as they have been the last couple of years for sure. That look like more of an NHL hockey team, which they haven't all the time. They were being bad on purpose, obviously, but I don't think they're doing that anymore. So I don't think they're gonna be a contender or anything. I don't even think they're gonna seriously contend for the playoffs, but they didn't look like the bottom feeder that they've been.
Yeah, and the Flames are kind of there as well. It just felt like the Flames were more or less in control. It felt like this was going to be a Flames win once that goal went in. It just felt like they were going to find a way to steer this thing home, and I didn't think we'd be saying that a whole lot in this game. So they win this thing by a score of 3-1. They allow just the one goal. Now the skill level of the opponent, I guess, is probably to be taken into consideration. Dustin Wolf, another victory for him. He's been impressive. Tonight, it ends up being 31 saves. The one that goes in is an unbelievable tip by Foligno in front that he doesn't really have a chance against. And we can take a look at a couple of the plays here. One of those giveaways from Kuzmenko that you talk about on that Flames power play ends up being a very good scoring chance going back the other way. But you can tell we had McLennan on the show last week, and he was talking about, he said, he looked small to me. Now, and he's going to hear this, but it wasn't a shot necessarily at his size. It's just he looked small, too deep in his net, just the way, whether or not he was aggressive or confident enough. He looked just fine tonight, right? I mean, playing the angles, his foot speed, his lateral movement is so strong and so good. He's been playing really well here, and tonight was another example.
Yeah, and he had sort of that uncanny ability tonight, especially. But sometimes when you've seen him in the AHL, to make hard stops look easy, look routine. You saw that sort of breakaway there, and just he's out there, makes a quick stop. It's simple, but that's part of his skill set, I think. And I wrote coming into the season for Post Media, and one of the biggest question marks coming for the franchise coming into the season, I thought, was Wolf. Like, I think they want to know if he can be a starting goalie. And I don't think you have to push him to be a star or anything, even though that's kind of his pedigree. But the big thing was like, okay, can Wolf take that next step, prove that he's an NHL goaltender? And if he keeps doing that, then he absolutely is.
And I still feel like, and this is not to poop on the party, to frown on a victory. I still think there's going to be some rough nights for not just
Yeah,
Dustin Wolf, but for this hockey team. And this will
right.
be a good year for him to develop and to have some growth while there aren't massive expectations, because that in and of itself can, whether I got a brand new contract, the team's supposed to be a cup, whatever it is, that mental
Yeah,
side can bog anybody down, let alone a young goaltender. So to just go out and just play, I think is a great spot for him.
absolutely.
Other individual performances. I'll tell you about Square before we go. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad. You're thinking about how to get more orders flowing, new locations opening. You need to get new customers, more customers, and keep them coming back. So, really, you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech helps more than 400,000 restaurants do all those things and more. When you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. The website to check out is squareup.com/ca/en/campaign/big in RST to see why Square is big in restaurants. We're already a big fan of Connor Zary, and
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to find out from you, because you look at the game differently. Like, you've got an I don't analytical. I'm not sure, because I watch him, and the one player he makes where he cuts to the middle, it just he's cutting to the middle.
Yeah.
There's I don't know what the percentage is, like 40% cocky, and then throw another 40% skill, and there's some other,
Confidence. Yeah.
right? This is I'm just going to try and, I'm going to go around this guy. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to go to the net. And were it not for the defenseman, that thing is in. We're talking about another incredible highlight reel Zary goal through 4 games. I don't know what this guy's ceiling is, but it's fun
Yeah.
to watch, because the way he's doing it is entertaining as hell.
Yeah, but I was a big fan of him as a pick just because he seemed like a really good value pick when they got him, I think at 24 in
Sure.
that draft. And he profiled really well just from an analytical standpoint, but hadn't seen the player too much. Watched him the next year. He's in the World Juniors and stuff. I'm like, "Hey, he's got some hands for sure." Then he had kind of the slow out of the gate with the AHL. I think he had like a high ankle sprain or something, set him back. And then last year when he just was like shot out of a cannon after those first like 10 games, like holy cow, this
Yeah.
is big step forward. And I think we're seeing another step forward this year because you're right. He looks even more confident. I mean, I think he's better than point per game right now, but he could have a couple more. Like he's been robbed more than once in the
Yeah.
last couple of games too. And he's not playing easy minutes. He's playing with Coleman and Backlund. That's not soft hockey. So you're right. Like I'd like to see him at center, but even right now on a left wing on a line like that, he looked good.
For Zary, gets the assist on he's on the power play. 3 minutes
Yeah.
55 seconds of power play time. He's now a fixture on that number 1 power play unit. 1706, didn't have a shot on net. That would have been one if it would have been a goal if the defenseman was not there. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it, because you get into conversation about, well, what did you see a year ago? I can't tell you what his camp was like a year ago. I don't know. You look back, it's like, well, how didn't he make camp last year? Make the team coming out of camp. You got
Yeah.
guaranteed contracts and all that sort of thing. But from the minute he's gotten here, it's gone from, pleasant surprise, to, I think there's something here, to now being one of the key parts of this team and big parts of its future. It feels like every week he just keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Do you look into comps and comparables and who this guy profiles as? Because I'm intrigued to see what kind of, because like you said, how many games has he played now? How many NHL games has he played? Is it even I could look
I
it
don't
up
think
here,
it's
but
enough
right?
quite yet, but I mentioned in a chat during the game that, Zary looks like a star. Like he looks like
Yeah.
I was glad that he's looking like an NHLer last year, and the first few games this year is like, okay, he's actually looking like he could become better than that. Top line, top 6 guy, easy, right? So
Yeah.
that's a huge win for the org if that happens.
66 games, 16 goals, 38 points. Not shabby.
No,
Half point. Yeah, it's pretty decent stuff. And I love that there's a little bit of cockiness to him. You do need that in today's game. go to the hard areas, make the moves. And there is just something about his demeanor that I really like. And oddly, it's who knows? I see Andrew Basha and him comparables, kind of the way they play, smart, go to the little bit of stink in the game, but really smart, going to the areas that they have to. And if they've got another guy of this ilk in Basha, they'll be plenty happy.
Yeah.
Lomberg is an interesting guy.
So much fun.
He is, right? Something's happening.
Yeah.
Something's always happening. And I feel like in a way, he doesn't get enough credit for the hockey player that he is. Because there's some real ability and smarts there. You can't just you can't be in the middle of it without knowing what you're doing and having the ability to do it. You go, you crash and bang. There's a lot of guys that have been in the league and crash and bang, and they're in the league and they're out of the league. But there's something really kind of, I don't even know how to compare him or how to reference it or what to call it, but he doesn't feel to me just like a fourth liner.
Yeah.
Why would they pay $2 million to a fourth liner? He's not just a fourth liner for this team.
Well, he has that kamikaze style, that's for sure. He's not afraid. He's not a big guy, but he's sort of like a honey badger out there.
Yeah.
But then he pulls a spinorama like randomly in the first period on a break into the zone. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's Lomberg. And that fourth line was great tonight, honestly. Like that, you have Coronado and Kirkland and Lomberg, and then nobody draws that up, but it worked really well. got a goal in the empty netter. It's like, all right, well, maybe we have something here.
Yeah. And don't be a fourth line. Be a line that they can put out against other. Be a shutdown line. Be an agitating. What was it? I'm trying to think. The line that they had in Detroit there with Maltby and Draper and McCarty, whatever they called that friggin' line. Be one of those lines. I'm intrigued by him. I'm entertained. Again, they're a fun team to watch right now, and there's individual performances, but just watching the way Lomberg gets in, and there's something about his mug that I would think you would hate playing against this son of a.
Yeah.
You'd hate playing against him, but I wonder what this season is going to be like for him as we move forward.
Reminds me a bit of like the Derek Ryan, Hathaway, Mangiapane fourth line that we had a few years ago, where again it's just this weird motley crew of guys, but they went out and they were awesome all the time. So I'd love to see more of that.
What are your thoughts on Coronado on a fourth line? Because fans have the conversation, we have the conversation all the time. If you're going to be playing on the fourth line, and I think it's more about minutes than anything else, but if you're going to be on a fourth line and that's your responsibility, wouldn't you be better off in the American League playing 20 top power play, all of the key minutes, that sort of thing? Where are you on that?
Traditionally, I'd say that's true, but I don't think the Flames are in sort of that traditional space right now. He's not going out there with like two grinders or goons, right? It's not Lucic and another guy, Trevor Lewis, and they're not going out there playing 7 minutes a night and dumping it in from the red line and trying to bang bodies, right? So I thought Coronado excelled in that role today, and it's fine for a young guy to find his legs in that role as long as you're having evenings like tonight, right?
Just looking at the forwards, obviously the defense minutes a little bit different. Just under 24 for Weegar, 23 for Anderson. But as far as the forwards, no one at 20, everyone into double digits. It was you love that as a coach, don't you? When you feel like you can trust everybody and everyone's giving you honest minutes. Next up, let's go. If on a penalty kill, all right, we'll cycle through and then we're back to rolling 4 again, because it did feel like for a while there. Freaking Lomberg's out there again. Huberdeau's line is out there. Are they out there all the time? What about Huberdeau? I know, again, it's early, 4 games, and and the I guess the luxury of reduced, or in maybe his case, eliminated expectation on a player when you're just free to go and play, because I would not have had him sitting with wherever he is now, leading the team 6 points in 4 games.
Yeah, it's bit of a revelation. It's funny watching the first 4 games, because this is what it feels like if you're a GM or a coach, and every bet you place going into the season seems to work. Sure. Let's put Pospisil with Huberdeau. Hey, that's working. Let's get Mantha. Yeah, but okay, that's working great. Let's put the rookie goaltender in. He made all those saves. He was the first starter. And I said, holy cow, all right, well, yeah, let's just keep rolling with this. But we'll see how long it lasts. That's, as you say, that's kind of the proviso we have to put on all these early season games. But it's fun right now. And I don't know if Huberdeau is going to be here for the duration. Maybe, because if he starts playing well enough as a point per game guy, his value as a trade guy goes up. But then maybe the team doesn't want to trade him. They want to keep him around as a veteran. But it's a lot more interesting watching him put up points than some of the hockey we've seen from him the last couple of years, right?
Chatting with Red on the show today, and I kind of threw it out. It just felt to me I wasn't watching it live, so I went back to see. So Huberdeau scored. Okay, so you go back. Oh, it's off his shoulder and in. But you know what it did? It took the 0 out of the goal column. It took the 0 out of the point column. And he wasn't going to have to be asked, so 3 games, 5 games, 6 games. You have 1 point. You have no points. You get a bounce. Because that guy, whether or not he's deserved it or whatever you feel about him, there have not been a lot of bounces that have gone Jonathan Huberdeau's way. To get a bounce that early in the season, hey, I got 1 game, 1 goal. That's something to build off of. And I just think that it's so much more freeing. I don't think it's sustainable, obviously, and it's the shooting percentage and all of that. But it does give you another side of his game that you're able to witness because he's not so puckered, just trying to put up points and make plays and awful backhand, no look passes to the middle to nobody, right? Now you can be
the worst.
You don't need to be making those plays. You're going to be just fine. So
I think he's benefiting from what you talked about, whereas there's this sort of even rollout. He's not the guy. He's not expected to come out and hoist the team on his shoulders, and the team's got to be contender because you're making 10 million. He's just one guy on 3 or 4 lines that all seem to be working pretty well right now. And he seems way more relaxed than he's ever been.
Derek Newman. It's the Derek Newman Group with CIR Realty. Whether you're buying or selling, let Derek do the work for you. You can email dnewman@cirrealty.ca. Complimentary in-house home staging consultations, accountable, available. Whether it's your first home purchase or you've bought and sold several, he'll take the time to understand your goals. On the selling side, pre-listing consultation, help you with every step of the way. Comprehensive marketing plan. You need those. You need one of those. Detailed analysis of other comparable homes in your market. He is the guy. You want good people. You want honest people. Calgary people? Why not? Derek, 403-619-6661 and email dnewman@cirrealty.ca. Let Derek put his network to work for you. Again, you're smarter than me at all of this stuff. What's the acceptable face-off percentage before you have to entertain a change? And I'm not looking to bury the guy. I literally went today. Okay, so teams are anywhere from 1 to 4 games in, and he's not the worst, Martin Pospisil. There's some other guys. There will be some separation over time, but he was 41% coming into this game. Tonight finishes, I think, at 46%. Can you live with it? If he's your third line center or second line or whatever it is, doing everything else that he's doing, because that is, you're not starting with the puck a lot some nights.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that doesn't much care about face-off percentage, to tell you the truth. Right. Unless you're losing, unless you're in the 30% range, or unless you're winning like 60%. If you're at the very extremes of the edges of stuff, then it's worth paying attention to. But I think it matters way more what you do, but like when the puck's been after it's been dropped, right? So like Damon Langkow for years was a great center, except he couldn't take faceoffs. I think he hovered around 43% all the time too. It was the worst part about his game, but he was so good at everything else. Who cares?
Well, I was thinking about that too for the longest time. Didn't Jerome take the draws on the one side of the ice? Like Jerome would take those draws. Mantha, you're big and
just
strong,
figure that
right?
out. Yeah.
Mantha, you're so big.
Yeah.
Just get in there and kind of lean on somebody and tie guys up, maybe saw off some draws here and there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've been impressed with what I've seen out of him, but I'm kind of bought and paid for when it comes to Pospisil because I just love the way he plays and how he's right in the middle of it. But last year we saw Sharon Govich get asked to move to the middle, and he does it, and I thought performed very well. I thought this was going to be a bridge too far kind of a thing.
Yeah.
He's a rookie a year ago. This is a lot to ask of a young guy who's really still getting his footing in the league to now become a centerman against the best centerman in the world. And he's done a lot better than I really thought he was going to at this point.
Yeah, it's a huge surprise too. When they're testing it out in the preseason, I thought we'll see, but
Another
this
one of
is a
those
good
bets,
time.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good time to experiment, going into a season like this, try stuff out, but it's worked weirdly. And you're right, that player kind of came into the league with a lot of crash and bang to him, a lot of audacity as a kid, and sometimes that they can hold on to that, but you got to develop more nuance to your game to stick around, because you're just going to get hurt doing that, right? Eventually. And he's really done that. There's been games where he's been really dangerous. There's a game today where he was all over the ice, just great two-way player. And it's really surprising to see him kind of come up from the middle of the rookie stack and just work his way up and be so valuable, it seems.
Yeah. Youth does funny things, and it's maybe little, again, when they're winning, you look at things, but watching, it's game 4 of the season, and to watch Kirkland and Coleman and these guys diving in front of shots in the final minute, it doesn't always happen where you have guys doing that. Especially for, I'm just impressed by the give a shit meter for this team, because we've watched a lot of Flames hockey over the years where it's been few and far between where guys would care enough. Chicago on a Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever the hell day it is in game 4, and that they had to have that game. They were playing their ass off in that third period to try and hang on. I was impressed.
I think a lot of credit should go to Huska and the coaching staff. This team has looked, ready to play. And I'm not just saying like the start of the actual season, even preseason, it was like, no, these guys actually look pretty good. And you got to take that with a grain of salt, obviously, in the exhibition, but it's kind of carried through to the real thing. And I've made a couple comments recently, like, I think this is the best you could expect this roster to play. This is mid-season form for this roster. They're playing the best hockey right out of the gate. So, kudos to everyone involved.
Yeah. Kirkland's 28. Hey, keep playing. I don't want anybody getting hurt. Don't want to see anybody getting concussed. I'm not sure how long Rooney needs to be out, but and then you lose Schwint on waivers. What the hell are they going to do? Hey, keep playing.
And I totally forgot that he'd been with the franchise, had left, and was back with the franchise. So it's like, yeah, good for you, man.
You're not all up to speed on your Kirkland data there. I
thought he'd been here the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't know he left in between.
Yeah. And and damn near scored again in this game as he took a great pass from Lomberg, a little kind of that little drift saucer pass behind the defender, and he cuts to the net and nearly scored again.
The fourth line had the best underlying stats today too in terms of shots and chances. So good for them. It was awesome.
We'll take a look at the road ahead for Village Honda. Of course, Village Honda, great partners of ours on both Barn Burner and here on Afterburner. More flexibility, more payment options. Explore Honda's new 28-month stretch lease at Village Honda today. It's applicable to the new CRV, the HRV, and the Civic. If it's new, it's used, it's all waiting for you at the Northwest Auto Mall and Village Honda. So they have a bit of a break here now. It's kind of fits and starts, the preseason, then a number of days off, and then they get into it here. Saturday is the next matchup. They go out to Seattle, who I'm trying to remember. They were in a bit of a, what's the score? I was looking at, again, I shouldn't do this because
they smoked Nashville.
By the time I was going to say they were in pretty good spot down in Nashville, 7-3 final. So into Seattle, and then home for an interesting homestand. I don't know what Pittsburgh is. Carolina is good, has had a bit of a slow start, and then Winnipeg. What are you going to be this year? So that'll be a fun little homestand for sure. Going into next week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then out to Vegas. to see that. And are we just going to assume that it's just going to be Vladar Wolf, right? There's no
Yeah, that seems to be the pattern we're going with. So
no
until
back to
that breaks,
backs. If
no,
it's
yeah,
working, what about Vladar?
it's
Where
hard to really nail him down, isn't it?
it
Because he
is.
has those games where it's like, oh, this guy looks great, and then the next game he goes in and goes, yeah, those first 3 shots went in. Never mind.
And
It's
I'm
he's
so
been like that
guilty.
his entire time here, right?
Yeah, I'll sit and watch, and he's making saves, and he's making. Oh well, he couldn't blame him on that one. Well, that was a bit of a breakdown. He's the Yogi.
Yeah,
Flower, he's a pretty good goalie. Then you look at his numbers. 890. What?
895. Yeah, what?
3 point what? It's like so the numbers
Yeah,
never really seem to match the eye test for me. Another guy, and it's not going to be anywhere close to last year, but it's going to be with Mantha and Kuzmenko, guys that are going to be free agents. It'll be that same thing, but I think obviously to a lesser extent for Dan
yeah,
Vladar. But this guy's well into his career by now. Obviously, the injury puts him back a little bit.
yeah,
But how long has he been dealing with this issue? Has this been a thing that has been dogged with for a year and a half? I don't know.
yeah.
Is
Who
he
knows?
long for the Flames, or is he a guy that can maybe help out somebody else? Because it seems like Wolf is going to be the guy that's going to get the big run here.
Yeah, he kind of fits into that age group of that conundrum where if he doesn't play well, you let him go. You get what you can for him. Doesn't really matter. If he does play well, he's probably looking to cash in on that because he's getting up there. He's not 22. He's mid late 20s, so he needs to get a contract, right? And will the Flames be the team that wants to do that?
Yeah,
Probably not. Colorado might come knocking sooner rather than later, given their start to the year. But
yeah,
yeah, it's better news if he continues to play this well than it's bad news. So fingers crossed.
yeah. That's also a unique situation where neither guy, I think, even in their heart of hearts, can feel like they're deserving of the starting role more than the other
Yeah,
guy. Because Vladar, you've been around longer, but you know what Wolf is, and you've seen how he plays, and you know and you've been injured, and your play hasn't dictated that you should be the guy. And for Wolf, you're just a kid. You're not going to come in. Vladar's been in front of you for a while. Weird the kind of the slotting throughout this team that
yeah,
exists, including in goal, where I think sometimes you get jealousy that plays in, and guys are thinking that I should be here, and why is he playing? You play, I play, and everyone's happy
yeah. I
until
think they're doing it right this
yeah,
year. They're alternating them. The vibes are really good in the room, clearly. So it's not hurting anyone,
yeah.
clearly. But you're right. There
Immaculate, we
was
heard.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, Uyghur was saying
You're
the
right.
vibes are immaculate. Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
But there's no Wolf coming in saying, I'm obviously the starter here. And Vladar has never established himself as a starter in the NHL. So you're right. Let's play him, alternate him, see how it goes.
So that's the road ahead for Village Honda, Northwest Auto Mall. Of course, it's new inventory used. They're inside the Wood Automotive Group. If you don't see what you like at the lot, get on the old database. 400, 500 more within the ownership group, and they'll be happy to take care of you. Village Honda, Northwest Auto Mall, they're worth the trip. They're your dealership for life. We'll end the show tonight with kind of a nice moment. I suppose, from tragedy, you try and uh, find strength and all of that. But we'll go first. Bet365 is our gaming partner with both Barnburner and Afterburner. Bet365, largest sports betting platform. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. You download the app, use the promo code over there, FN bonus. I can never get it right. FN bonus when you sign up, whatever the sport, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Looking ahead to tomorrow at the schedule. I this one feels now the things will change by the time we get to tomorrow. As of right now, there isn't an anytime goal prop for the Utah and Anaheim Ducks game. But Dylan Guenther has 5 goals in 4 games, and it's Anaheim. I'm going to take Dylan Guenther in any way, shape, or form for this game, whether it's points. Check back on the app tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be an anytime goal. You You can put them all together, do what you got to do there. But Gunther is feeling it right now. So is Utah. They're loving life down there. We
Yeah.
were talking about that on the other show. Imagine going from where you couldn't get any love, your ownership didn't even seem to care for you half the time, and now you guys are superstars in this market. So we'll see
They're
how
selling out beer in Utah. It's going that
I
well.
heard.
Yeah,
What's
good for
going on?
them.
Yeah. What's this beer stuff you guys got going here? So there you go. That's what I'm going to go with for tomorrow's game. One of a number on the sked tomorrow. That's an 8:00 Mountain start. If you were interested, there you go. Bet365. Get the app. Sign up today. Use the promo code FN bonus, and get after it. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I never did ask it. So with those games coming up, so it's Seattle. We don't know what they are. We got Pittsburgh, and we don't really know what they are.
Yeah.
5-0, 6. I mean,
I'm not going to predict anything at this point. Let's go. I would say Carolina scares me the most out of that lineup. Winnipeg, you're right. Winnipeg seems like they can lose or beat anybody depending on the evening. Pittsburgh, I think, is starting to slide. They're getting long in the tooth, and Sidney Crosby can only do so much.
It's always fun when they're in town, though, right?
Yeah, I still like watching them.
You buy a ticket, you sit down. There's Malkin and Letang and Crosby. And it's like Hall of Fame. Oh, pretty good Hall of Fame. Pretty good team. So that is coming up. Appreciate you, pal. We'll get out of here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really any need for final thoughts. What else is there to say? That it's a great little run that they're on here. They're playing their asses off. They're playing for one another. And I thought the point that you made is probably one of the best ones. The coaches deserve a lot here. Because and I don't know if they're doing the us against the world. Nobody's picking us to win. Everybody thinks that doesn't feel like a Huska thing to me. I just think he's got them playing.
Yeah, whatever he's doing, it's working. So thumbs up.
Yeah. Put in a goalie. You want to play tonight? How about you play tonight? Well, you're on the power play. Whatever. Kirkland, you're in. Oh, you're going to score. We'll see how
it's all working.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll end the show tonight with it's the Alberta Blue Cross Meaningful Moment of the Week, a presentation of Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, make sure you remember to pack travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross. When you've got Canada's most trusted travel insurance in your back pocket, you can focus on making the right kind of memories while you're away. Online, visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. And the meaningful moment of the week for Alberta Blue Cross happened tonight in Columbus. We'll roll it here to end, but what you'll see is now I don't know if it's a retirement, but it's a banner was raised to the roof at Nationwide Arena with Johnny Gaudreau's number and name, and both teams, the Florida Panthers and the Blue Jackets, were wearing Gaudreau name bars on their sweaters with the number 13. And I saw that by the urging of Matthew Tkachuk, all of the Panthers showed up with bags of Skittles and purple Gatorade as an homage to Johnny, and his parents were there. So we sign off for Afterburner with a tribute to Johnny, and his old friend Sean Monahan gets one and points to his old buddy up top. Good night, everybody.